Hey, I'm Coach Ryan Fowler. Today we're going to look at the importance of flattening out once you get into the backfield. Let's film study. All right, here we go. We have Eagles, Packers. This is week 1 of the 2024 season. All right, the Packers have the ball at second down and 1 to go. All right, and their personnel is 1 back here, and I've got 2 tight ends down here. Okay, so that's 12 personnel. All right, the formation from left to right from a defensive perspective is we have 1 up here, we have 3 down here, and they're in a cluster. Okay, so this would be 13 cluster. Our back is at home, so we'd say this is a home back or a dot back. All right, now we're going to watch this play. All right, the Eagles are in some sort of an 8-man box. They really have everybody up there in the line of scrimmage, but what we're going to pay attention to is Nakobe Dean. I want you to watch how quickly he gets into the backfield and then flattens out. So I like to say that when you know what gap you have and run, it really becomes a blitz. So he's going to blitz the gap here, okay? But when he blitzes the gap, once he gets into the backfield, what's really important next on a run is to flatten out. If we continue into the backfield too deep, right? If he were to continue up the field here, he would run right past the ball carrier. That's one problem. The next problem is he also could open up what's called a vertical seam. So if Jacobs could get vertical here, all right, and if Nakobe Dean kept going vertically up the field, there would be an opportunity for Jacobs then to actually bend this inside of where he just occupied. All right, so even though Nakobe Dean has that B gap taken care of, if he were to continue up the field too far, he would create a vertical seam inside and underneath of himself. All right, but instead, what he does is he flattens out. All right, and I want you to watch how this works. When he flattens out down the line of scrimmage here like this, he is effectively canceling all these backside gaps, all of the interior gaps. Okay, so even if there was nobody else in on this play, because he's running down the backside of the line so flat like this, he's canceling all of the other gaps. A gap, other B gap. We'll see it better from the other angle. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so from this angle, watch. This is an 8-man box, and you can tell that just by looking at the linebackers that it's a 1 back, 1 gap situation, right? They're lined up right in their gaps. If they had potentially 2 gaps pre-snap, they would be stacking their defensive linemen so that they would be midpointed between their 2 gaps. But here they only have 1 gap, so they're lined up right in it. But I want you to watch Nakobe Dean here on this. Okay, he already has an idea of that it's going to be a run. He's going to sell out. If it's a pass, he'll react to it, but he's going to go ahead and sell out. He knows that's his gap. There's nothing really to read except to know that it's a run. And when that ball is snapped, he hits that gap like a blitz. As soon as he gets even with the offensive line, right, or the heels of the offensive line, he's flattening out. Flattening out meaning he's basically making a 90-degree turn here. All right, this is really hard to do at full speed. And now he's going to run flat down the line of scrimmage. If he were to continue up the field here or even go for Jacobs, there would be an opportunity, like I said, for a vertical seam. So Jacobs could run vertically for a little bit and then cut underneath and inside of where Dean is. But Dean doesn't allow that to happen because he gets really flat down the backside. Now, what I talked about in the beginning was this. As he continues down the line of scrimmage, he's basically effectively canceling all of these interior gaps. He's occupying them just on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Right. So he ends up taking his B gap, the A gap to his side, the other A gap where Bond is, right, and gets all the way to the B gap on the other side and makes the play there. This is just beautiful. Nakobe Dean is a master at this. Makes a good tackle. All right, now we get a 3rd down and 1, or it's basically no gain on that play. So now we get another situation. Now it's like 3rd and 1. All right, and in this case, we've got still 12 personnel, but we got our tight ends lined up on the other side now. All right, so we got our total formation would be, you could call this a cut if you want. If not, this is just wing 3 on this side from a left to right from a defensive perspective. Wing 3 here. We got 1 here. We could call this a cut if you want. So this would be wing 31 cut or cut wing 31 cut. All right, and then our backfield is home back or dot back. All right, now let's watch this. I think this is more of a 7-man box. We'll take a look at it from the other angle. But again, watch Nakobe Dean here. Once he finds out which gap is his, once he's decided or identified his gap, it's a blitz. All right, now freeze it right there. He's already sort of committed. He's very much closer to the running back this time, so he's able to kind of go ahead and commit to trying to make this tackle. But he's still flattening out. You see how he's still trying to get flat? Now this one's not as flat, and as a result, you can see he actually misses the tackle. He does slow Jacobs down and probably allows everybody else to make the tackle. But look at the difference between this one right? Where he's not quite getting as flat. It's not as hard or abrupt of a stop and turn. And the difference in that makes in the play. It allows Jacobs really to kind of keep some of his momentum forward going, and they do pick up the first down there. All right, we'll see it from this other angle. Okay, so now in this case, you can tell it's a 7-man box again because Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are actually stacking their defensive tackles. All right, instead of being lined up right in a gap, now they know because they don't have immediate safety help, there's a chance that they might have a different gap. So right now, Nakobe Dean either has this B gap here, right, or this A gap over here. Oops, excuse me. Or this A gap here. All right, and Bond either has this A gap here or this C gap here to the strong side. Okay, and so this is all going to be predicated on Jacob's first step. All right, if he steps to the offense's right here, then Bond will have this C gap, Nakobe Dean will have this A gap, and if he steps to the defense's right, then Bond will have this A gap, and Nakobe Dean will have this B gap. All right, so as we watch this, he steps to the defense's left, the offense's right. So right now, they should be going to their gaps. Nakobe Dean can shoot right through that A gap, okay, and Bond should go right to the C gap. And you can see here, there's a little bit of a discrepancy in how quickly Nakobe Dean sees it and hits it and how quickly Bond sees it and hits it. See, Nakobe Dean's already in the backfield before Bond even realizes which gap is his. Watch this. Boom, he's already in the backfield now. Bond's just now sliding over at his gap. As a result, Bond actually gets dug out by this tight end. Watch. See how he actually gets cut out of his gap by that tight end. So the importance of hitting your gap as soon as you realize which gap is yours is so big. All right, and then Nakobe Dean, if he was a little bit tighter to the gap here, right? If he was a little bit closer to 73 or to 77 and flattened out a little quicker, he'd probably make this play. But as it stands, they get the first down. All right. So again, the importance of flattening out once you get into the backfield is very big. It's hard to overstate. Okay, so what we just saw was really highlighted the difference between Nakobe Dean, who's been in this system for a little while, and Zach Bond, who really this was his first regular season game in this season. Now Zach Bond got much better as the season went on, but you can see the difference here that is made by committing to your gap and understanding the run principles. In this case, Nakobe Dean knows exactly where he's going. He gets there super fast, and then understands that he has to flatten out once he gets to the heels of the offensive line. Till next time.